Merhaba, welcome to Aliyah Yomi. Today we are talking about Torah portion, Toldot, the second Aliyah. Yesterday we did a very long first Aliyah. Today will be much shorter because there are fewer verses. And that's just the nature of the Aliyah, of the Aliyot. You never know if it's going to be long or short or whatever. So let's get started. The verses for today's Aliyah, the second Aliyah of Toldot, are Breshit, chapter 26, verse 6 through verse 12. All right, the Vav is 6, so verse 6 says, Vayeshiv Yitzhak bi-Gerar. Okay, so then Yitzhak dwelled in Gerar, and we have, I think it's even Ezra who makes sure to comment, as Hashem had commanded him. Verse 7, Vayisha'alu anshe hamakom le'ishto vayomer achoti hi. There's our end of the clause marker with the etnachta. So this vav, instead of and, which is just so mechanical, I think it's really better to say when in this case. So when, maybe whenever in English, but when the anshe hamakom, right? So here we have a construct chain. Sorry about that. I'm trying to change my color to blue. As one of my students likes to use blue for the construct. I think that's a nice idea to color code things. So anshe hamakom. So the last word, hamakom, is the absolute word, and it is in the definite. It is a definite word because it has ha, meaning the. And so even the first word has to have the then in our translation. So anshe from anashim becomes the men of the place. Yisha'alu, they inquired about, they asked concerning ishto. So this is from isha. Isha, remember when you attach a pronominal suffix to the end of a word, we make sure first to switch it to the construct state. That's how you attach the suffix. So the construct of isha, you just have to learn, is eshit, right? And then we put the o on the end, okay? So that's ishto. You can kind of recognize it now this way. The ishto, to his wife. They inquired concerning his wife. Vayomer, and he said, Achotihi, she is my sister. Remember, we're thinking like Yoda. Achotihi, Ken, my sister is she. Yes. So you have to do it in reverse order in Tanachit. Not so in Ivrit Chadashah. Modern Hebrew is a bit different, but we are learning the holy language in its best form ever, which is when the Torah was written. Ki yarei lemo ishti pen yaharguni anshe hamakom al rivka ki tovat mar'ehi. Because, or for, yarei, he was scared, lemo, to say, ishti. So again, isha becomes eshit for the construct state. Then you put your pronominal suffix underneath there, e, meaning mine. For Tagalog speakers, it's like ko, right? So it's like saying isha ko, right? Ishti, my isha, saying my wife. Concerning, he was afraid to say my wife. And then now we have his exact thought process. Pen yaharguni anshe hamakom. Pen, it's kind of hard to bring that across sometimes in the English. I mean, usually you look up in a lexicon, it says lest, right? But this is a word we don't really use. Or I don't know, I rarely hear anybody in modern English say lest, right? I mean, I guess it sounds super formal or poetic. It's already fading into disusage. Soon it will surely be marked archaic or not oblique. What's the word they mark it with? Anyway, whatever. So the idea is that because they might or so they don't, Yeharagulni. So harag is the verb. Hey, reish, gimel. Harag is to slay, right? So, and then we have a defective spelling here. Instead of a shurik, we have the Masoret's correct spelling with the kibbutz underneath. So that's the they, that's u. So yehargu means they will slay, right? Or they might slay. I think this comes into the Greek as a subjunctive. And then ni, we put the little noon to make the pronominal suffix e easier to connect at the end, okay? So they might slay whom? Ni, that's me. They might slay me, right? Or you could think of it as ani, drop the aleph if that's easier to remember that way. Now whom? We have a construct chain next. Anshe hamakom. Okay. So again, we have to say the because the last word has a the on it. It's definite. Right? So the men of the city might kill him, he's saying, right? They might kill me. Al Rivka. Over Rivka, meaning concerning Rivka. Ki, because Tovat Mar'ehi, good of appearance. And then you have to insert is she or was she. She was good looking. Okay? And it's interesting, when he says Achutihi, my sister is he, Nachmanides makes a point that, oh wait, is it Nachmanides? No, Abarbanel. Abarbanel makes the point that he's not lying because Hebrew is a bit flexible with certain terms. For example, even today in modern Hebrew, Achi, my brother, right? People call each other, and certainly they're not even related; they're just friends, right? But in those times, you remember how Avraham Avinu, when the shepherds were quarreling, Abraham's shepherds were quarreling with Lot's shepherds, and so Abraham says, "Look, we are achim, we are brothers, right? But certainly they aren't brothers. It wasn't his brother, right? But they're relatives, is what it means. It's more expanded, like kin, extended. So in the case of saying achotihi, technically she's my relation, which is true because she's like his cousin or something, right? So technically it's not a lie, and so it's interesting. Abarbanel makes this comment. I try to get the sources right, so if you hear me say something and the source is wrong, then please feel free to comment on it. That's fine. I want to get the right information out there, so that won't be offensive or anything like that. All right, verse 8. Vayhi ki arachulo sham hayamim vayashkef Avi melech Pelishtim be'ad hachalon. Okay, we'll just stop there. That's the end of the clause. We're building up suspense. So yehi, it will be, right? But vayehi, we have our vav conversive, swaps the time, so it means it says and it was, or it came to be is often how this is rendered too. So and it was, or it came to be, came to pass. Ki, when, ki can mean that, but when I think makes more sense here. Arahu lo sham hayamim. So this whole thing here, it's all one phrase that's going on there. And it helps if you think of it this way. It's a bit awkward, the construction. So here's the verb, and when you're looking for the subject, it's hayamim. Hayamim is the subject of that verb there. So arachu means to be lengthened, right? We see this some of you have memorized the Aseret Deborot, the Ten Commandments, right? And if you remember, we have the command kibed et avicha v'et imecha, make heavy, make weighty, honor your father and your mother, lema'an, so that ya'arechu et yamecha al hadama shenispa. Okay, so that your days will be, here it is, arachu, they will be lengthened, right? Your days will be lengthened. So it can also mean to put in order, to put in an array, like a battle array, but anyway, context tells you. So, and it came to pass when the days were long for him there, lo sham meaning there. So he's been there a long time, right? So the idea is like he drops his guard, right? He's like, okay, look, nobody's taking my sister already. I can't remember which sage has this teaching. Sorry. If you know it, put it in. So one of the sages, he says that he already said, look, no one's going to take her. No one's taken her yet. So then he became more relaxed about not treating her like his wife, right? So it goes on to say, Vayashkef, and Avimelech, Melech Pelishtim, so Avimelech, the king of Pelishtim, Vayashkef, looked down, Be'ad hachalon. This word here, Ba'ad, it means like through, right? You can almost see how it came to be a word if you had bait and odd like in, until, or whatever, but it means like through, like, or it can mean also, it can also mean from a distance, right? So he looked through the hachalon, the window, right? Vayya, and he looked, vehine, and behold, Yitzchak metzachek et Rivka ishto. Yitzchak metzachek. So this word metzachek, I know a lot of Bible translations say something like jesting, and it can mean that, right? It's related to tzachak, to laugh. Look, it's the same root as his name. Tzadi, chet, kuf. But in context, it means having sex with, right? So this is why Jews are so good at. I'm sorry, continuing. so he saw him. He might have been fondling, right? But it's something to do with the process, right? And if you don't believe me, this is the same that we see in Genesis 39, verse 17, when you've got the wicked wife of Potiphar. It says, "V'taber elav kadvarim ha'elei," and she said to him, according to these words, Lemor, saying, "Ba elai ha'eved ha'ivri, the Hebrew servant came unto me, asher habeta lanu." I love how she blames her husband here, "whom you brought to us, litzachek me, to have sex with me," right? Or to, if you want to again say to sport, to have jest, whatever. Okay. Et Rivka, with Rivka ishto, his Eshit, right? Like the Eshet Chayil in Proverbs, right? Okay, continuing with verse Tav. Oh, and if you don't believe me on my interpretation, also Rashi interprets it this way, right? So, and he really leans on the Ba'ad Hachalon, right? He's really like, look, this Avimelech, it is, it might be true that Yitzchak let his guard down, but Avimelech, he's looking through the window. Oh, that's too dark. Okay, sorry. I got a little bit carried away with purple there. He's looking through the window. Okay? It's like looking in somebody else's window. It's not like they're out on the street, doing this. Okay? He looks through the window, and there they are. Yeah, granted, it's open to interpretation. He might have been in his own place next to theirs or something like that, All right. Verse Tet, 9. Vayikra Avimelech leYitzchak, Vayomer ach hinei, hinei ishtecha hi, ve'ech amarta achoti hi. All right, so that's the end of the clause. Let's stop there. Let's mark it so I don't get lost. Okay. So, this valve I'm going to translate. So, Avimelech called. Remember, Yikah is will call. Kara is called. He called Le to Itzik, to Yitzchak. So, he summoned, right? Avimelech summoned Yitzchak. Vayalmer, and he said, Ach, what? How? How? Behold. It's kind of, the construction is kind of weird. Ach, hine. It can mean how, behold, when, look. Ishtachahi, she's your wife. Ve'ech amarta achotihi. How is it, amarta, you said, achotihi, my sister is she. Vayomer elav Yitzchak, ki amarti, ki penamut aleha. Sorry for the delay. Sometimes you got to think through the musical notation here. And he said to him, Yitzchak, so this is our subject. Yitzchak is the one doing the saying, so there's no confusion. It's absolutely clear in the Hebrew. So then, and Yitzchak said unto him, because I said, Amarti, lest I die aleha, on her account, right? Not on top of her, but on her account. Kimchi points out this is a different Avimelech. Yeah. It's not. He says it's not the same one in the days of Abraham. Although I think there's some disagreements about this, right? But you think that he would have learned his lesson already if it's the same Avimelech. One can hope. Verse Yod, and this is our last slide. This is a very short Aliyah today. I think just like 7 Pesukim, something like this. I'm not sure. 7 Pesukim. Yeah. Yod is verse 10. Vayomer Avimelech, Mazot asita lanu, sorry. Okay? And Avimelech said, Ma, what? Zot is this? Asita. This is from asa, right? It's a lamed hey verb. So that hey swaps to a tav at the end. What is this you've done, lanu, to us? Kimat shachav achad ha'amet ishtecha veheveta aleinu asham. Okay. Kimat is kind of a weird word. Literally it says such or like, me'at, a little bit. Right? Like you want to eat something, they ask you how much, you say me'at, just a little bit. Okay? But this is really, it's kind of used idiomatically. And to nail it down, it's good, we can look over to Mishlei, Proverbs 5:14, and here the meaning becomes abundantly clear. It says, Kimat haiti bechora b'toch kahal ve'eda. So I won't translate the word for a sec. Let's see if you can guess it. Whatever that is, Haiti, I became as all or completely evil, or as all the evil people, in all evil things. You can mean these various things in the midst of the congregation and the assembly. Okay, so it means almost, right? Something like that, like kimat, as a little, right? As a little, I almost became, right? So that helps us nail it down here. Almost. Shachav, slept, laid down to sleep. Like, you might think you don't know this word, but if you're saying the Shema Ve'ahavta twice a day, like we're commanded to do, then you should remember from the Ve'ahavta. It says, when you lay down, right? That's the Shachav, right? Okay, Achad, one of Ha'am, the people, et Ishtachah, with your Eshet, with your wife. Veheveta, and you would have brought, this is ba, to come or arrive, and then the hey prefix tells you it's a hifil benyan, so it's from the causative benyan, usually causative, not always. You might have brought aleinu, upon us, asham, guilt. Verse Yod Aleph, Vayetzav Avimelech, so, I'm not supposed to say and, so Avimelech tzav, like mitzvah, commanded et kol ha'am lemor, all of the people, saying, Hanogea ba'ish hazeh uveishto mot yumat. Just like a Sabbath violator, mot yumat shall surely be executed, put to death. So Avimelech commanded all his people, saying, Hanogea, this is an active participle, nogea. Nogea means like one who touches, right? From naga, to touch. It can also mean like to strike, right? But so either way, so he's saying, if anyone does anything bad, any violence, etc. And then if you have a hey attached to an active participle, well, that guy is functioning as asher, like the relative pronoun asher, aleph, shin, reish, asher. In modern Hebrew, and later in Tanakh, in late biblical Hebrew, we get this prefix she. You can just put she in front of a word, and that's the same as asher. But we don't see this in Torah Hebrew. But instead we have just ha, right? So one who touches, right? Asher, nogea, one who touches, ba'ish. So bait, it doesn't mean in the man. So it means against the man. Which one? Hazeh, this one. So here you have your noun. Typically noun is followed by its adjective, right? So there's a demonstrative adjective, and it has ha because they have to agree in indefiniteness, right? So ha Zeh means this one, and ba'ish means against the man, right? Ba'ish, right? If it would have been against this man, against a man, it would be be'ish, right? The ba is the holdout from the definite article. So anyone who touches or like strikes, does something bad against this man, uve ishto, or be, against his eshet, his isha, his wife, mot yumat, shall surely die, will be executed. Right? Verse Yod Beit, that's 10 plus 2, 12. Vayizrach Yitzchak be'eretz hahihi, vayimsa b'shana hahi mea she'arim. Okay. Then Yitzchak, this is the verb from Zara, he planted. Again, it's the Vav conversive, it's swapping the time. Yizra means he will plant, or he's planting now. Vav swaps the tense to make it like a perfect he planted. So then Yitzchak planted, or when he planted, be'eretz hahi, in that land. Vayimtza b'shana hahi. And matzah, the first meaning we go to is find, right? Find. It's interesting. In Ugaritic, this root means to overtake, right? Like to catch. And so it could mean like, and he accomplished something like that, right? He overtook, he caught, he accomplished. In Hebrew, oftentimes you'll get like yachal, he was able to. And like this can be whatever the task at hand is. It can be fighting somebody. When you're able to, it means you defeated them, right? So in this case, it was accomplished, or he was able to, or he overtook Bashana in that year. Bashana, sorry, is in the year Hahi, though that one, right? There's our noun, Shana, and the adjective he, demonstrative adjective, meaning that. Don't get confused by the spelling. The Masoretes fixed the pointing for us, right? In that year, Me'ah She'arim. So Me'ah is 100. She'arim, well, one meaning of She'arim are gates, right? I personally think there's some mystical hidden thing happening here, like, what are these gates, right? You know, like we have the psalm that says, you know, Pitchei Olam, like, you know, you ancient gates, right? Oh, you ancient gates. And so it seems like there's a little hints throughout the Torah of these gates, you know, maybe that beings would come through from the spiritual realm, like Avraham Avinu when he looked up and he saw the three men, Nitzavim Alav, like stationed over him, right? Like they're up in the air, it seems to indicate. And so I think there's something like that happening here. Although the typical translation is to understand this as there's another sha'ar, you know, which means like portions, right? Like, so 100 portions. The Bechor Shor says 100 is not meant to be a precise number here, by the way. So, like I taught you yesterday, in yesterday's Aliyah we were discussing the idea that not everything is always so precise in the Hebrew as people think it is in the English, right? So, all the people said, I think I said the example from Eliyahu HaNavi, right? After he defeated the 400 prophets of Baal, and the fire came from heaven, la la la. It says then that all the people said, Adonai hu ha-Elohim, Adonai hu ha-Elohim, right? Hashem, he's the God, right? And certainly not all the people said it, right? I'm sure everybody didn't leave their babies at home, right? When they came, they brought their babies with them, and I don't think the babies are saying, right? So we have lots of examples like this. So this is just for to have a proper hermeneutic, to get used to translating and understanding the biblical Hebrew this way. When it says kol, all, it doesn't necessarily mean all like we mean in English, right? It's not so much that it's an exaggeration, just the way that the culture communicated things then. And so when it says 100-fold, maybe it was 105 times what you'd expect, right? It's not like there was a precise amount exactly of barley that should be grown, right, on that rocky land, right? So you know, the range is already variable. And so whatever that range is, 100 times that, you see? Yeah, and this part here, and as I was thinking about it, I was thinking there must be some mystical explanation. There must be something deeper here. And I'm not one to always just jump to mysticism or something, but I thought, you know what? Let's check out the Mishnah Agada, the Midrash Agada, right? Let's see what they say. And on this verse, it comments on this portion here, the Vayizra Yitzchak ba'aretz hahu, because this is the first part. This first part of the clause, this first half of the clause, gives us what happens. He gets overtaken in that year, the yimsa, or found in that year, me'ah she'arim, the 100-fold is produced, right? So this is the cause. Whatever he did here. Goodness, my brain got a little bit confused. I was about to write English right to left. I had to stop and think which way to draw C. I almost did it in mirror image. Cause. It's funny how the mind takes a little vacation sometimes. The cause is this part, right? And the effect is me'ah she'arim, which, by the way, there's a religious community in Israel, a small shtetl called me'ah she'arim. The effect. Any of you wanting to do a Devar Torah of your own, this could be something interesting to research more, this me'ah she'arim, to see if you can find any commentaries about it. Anybody strong in Kabbalah might be interesting to see what comes about from that. So anyway, so me'ah she'arim. So the effect is from Yitzhak planting. So let's look and see what the Midrash Agada has to say on Bereshit 26:12. That's what we have here. So here it is. Vayizra Yitzchak Ertzahi. It says, She'asar tzedaka gedolah im oniyi oto makom shene'emar zaro lachem litzedaka. And this is a quote from Hosea 10 verse 12 is what that is there. So Hosea. And so it says, for he had done much tzedakah, right? So the sowing in the land, it's not necessarily about a physical thing, or it can be in parallel, the Agadic Midrash is saying, but spiritually he was sowing seeds. He was sharing with people. He was helping out the poor. It says, im onyi, with the onyi, the poor, the afflicted, with him in the place. And then from Hosea we say, as it is said, his offspring, his seed for you are tzedakah, right? Which is charity, right? So that's kind of an interesting interpretation we got from there. Okay, thank you for doing the second Aliyah. Hope you'll stick with it. We have the third one coming up pretty soon. Be watching the channel. Please make comments, click a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, told your friends. And I really hope that you all will continue to grow in Lashon Haqodesh, as I hope to grow also. If you have something to share, please make sure to comment about it, and I will do my best to respond. Bli neder.